concept the most wonderful thing. Because the Fellowship of Isis has no boundaries. It has no boundaries of faith or religion or whatever. So if you believe in the feminine principle of the goddess, then the Fellowship of Isis is for you.
May the priest of Isis give thanks that the veil is withdrawn between our world and spirit world. Our ceremony is communion with the world of spirits, where we open ourselves to receive our loved ones, but through the intercession of angels, deities, all that is good. Mary Long is the great mystic of Glastonbury. Vivian Barshinsky.
At this festival of Samhain, Olivia remembers those who have passed by reading from the Book of the Dead.
You must probably remember him. I don't know who's there. They just find out when it's on. They're members and they turn up. Young, very young children can join with parental consent, and very old people. I'm usually the oldest, 91.
Goddess of the sacred fire, goddess of crafts and arts, goddess of poets and inspiration, we ask her blessing on this ceremony this day.
Barbara, being a member of the Fellowship, visits several times during the year. The local community are also welcome to the rituals. However, Barbara's Wicca faith takes her to other places, like this stone circle in the heart of County Wicklow.
O ancient ones, I ask your permission to enter this place, that we might spend some time together.
Within Wicca, there is a coven structure. A coven is comprised of a high priest and high priestess. Covens are small. They don't generally exceed 13 in number. The traditional witches' coven of 13. We also celebrate the 8 Sabbats of the year. The 4 major Sabbats are the ones recognised actually by everybody in this country, which is very cool. Samhain, which is the Celtic New Year, Imbolc, Bealtaine and Lunasa. They're actually the seasons of the year. And between that we have the solar festivals, midwinter, midsummer and the 2 equinoxes.
I ask the blessing of the Lord and of the Lady onto this offering, that what I have I share, so mote it be.
Well, this is an ancient stone circle. It's about 4,000 years old, so has been here a lot longer than us and will be here a lot longer after we're gone. I use this site quite a lot. I take my classes up here, I take my coven up here, and we work with the energy of the site and of the land. These sites are believed to be energy focal points.
You say you bring your coven here and you bring the classes that you tutor. Has anyone reacted strangely ever when they see a group of people standing around and chanting or whatever?
I suppose one of the dangers is it's quite near the road, this circle, so every so often we do attract visitors. One day I brought a class up here and a woman came up and asked me what I was doing, and I explained it to her. She was a local woman and she said, "Oh right," and walked out of the circle, and we started our ritual. And a few moments later we noticed her walking around the perimeter of the circle outside it, saying the rosary, but she was actually walking with her shins, which is against the sun, so she was actually, if you like, cleansing our space. I mean, one of the interesting things is those 2 quartz stones act as energy portals, and normally when we work and we raise energy it releases upwards. But when you work in here, it goes out in a spiral and outwards through those 2 stones. So it's got its unique signature, if you like, this place.
And how do you feel when you leave, when you come through the 2 stones?
I feel great. I feel absolutely fantastic.
Energy taken and energy given.
One of the rules about witchcraft is you do not proselytise your craft. You must never say, "I want you to be a witch. I think you would be a great witch." They must say, "This is something I've been exploring and I'd like you to tell me more about it." The other cardinal rule is once you're accepted into a coven for training, it's free. You do not charge to train somebody. For people to actually join, they generally will have had to have done a course on witchcraft with me first, which is a 9-week course of 2 hours a night. And then I take them off for ritual. And then if they want to stay on, they would be expected to have a very wide knowledge of comparative religion. They would be expected to have read about Irish mythology, general mythology. And then if they got on with the coven and if they kind of filled all those criteria, they would be taken on as neophytes in the outer court. It's not easy being a witch. You know, if I'd known how hard it was going to be, I might have had second thoughts.
Why, what's the toughest thing about being a witch then?
I think the toughest thing about it is learning when you have to accept things and when you don't. You know, I think sometimes, God, it would be very easy to be a Christian and go, it's the will of God. You know, I really do think that would be so easy. But I have to take responsibility for an awful lot of the things that I do or choose not to. I have to be responsible for my choices. And I also have to be responsible when I know I don't have a choice. And I think that's quite tough too.
Barbara's daughter Rhiannon, a talented artist and poet, was only 18 years old when she died last year.
The heartbreaking thing was watching her stop doing things. She stopped painting in May. The last painting she did was her self-portrait out in the hall. And she did that in the May. And then she stopped reading. And she just got thinner and thinner and weaker. And, you know, to watch that is horrendous.
As Rhiannon's condition worsened, she was hospitalised and diagnosed with a rare form of liver cancer.
Basically, they told us that she had this growth, a tumour. The tumour itself stretched from the top of her rib cage to the bottom of her pelvis, the primary tumour, and she had secondaries in all of her lymph glands on the other side of her liver, which was the right-hand side of her liver. The tumour was on the left of her liver, and in her lung.
And were you told eventually that treatment was not going to work?
We were told that there was no cure. She fought right up to the very end. I suppose one of the things that really brought it home very early on was she had booked a school trip to go skiing in America, and she was actually in the hospital at the time. And we had to bring a certificate for the insurance, and it asked for the prognosis, and the prognosis was terminal. So she knew then, you know, that there's no way out of this particular illness. And then the last thing she did, and she was determined to go because she couldn't go the year before, was go to the electric picnic. And that was 2 weeks before she died. She went to the electric picnic. And I have to say, at that stage, I was crying all the time. I was pushing the wheelchair, tears just flowing. I couldn't stop because, you know, we had been told actually at that stage that she only had 2 weeks.
Did you get to say goodbye to her?
We did. I said to her, you know, you can go. And I told her, sorry, you're gonna have to.
All right. You okay? Yeah.
I told her how proud I was to be her mom. How much I loved her. I think it was the hardest thing I ever did. It's still hard.